they were afraid. And they were afraid. Now watch this. As long as the man was acting a fool, long as he was cutting himself, long as he was screaming, making all kind of noise, long as he was acting crazy, long as he was calling women bees and hoes, long as he was doing that which was self-destructive, the people are okay with that. But the moment he's seated at the feet of Jesus, that's right, he ain't sagging no more. In his right mind, the text says they got scared. There is nothing, brothers, this nation fears more than a black man who is clothed in his right mind and hooked up with Jesus. Imagine this brother say, well, what had happened was, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. Come on, E-flat, son. And whosoever believes in him shall not perish, but will have everlasting life. I can hear this brother saying, what had happened was, therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away, and behold, all things become new. I can hear him saying what had happened was, for the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life. What had happened was, cast your cares upon the Lord, for he cares for you. What had happened was, can't nobody do me like Jesus. Lean on somebody and say, can't nobody do me like the Lord. Bless his name. I need you to know that God is able to deliver you. God is able to lift you up. God is able to bring you out. God is able to make a way out of no way. And so in our text, in the book of Genesis, the Lord calls down from glory because Adam and Eve were hiding because they had disobeyed the Lord. And the Lord says, Adam, where are you? Bless his name. He says, I was hiding. Why were you hiding? Because I was naked. Who told you you were naked? Bless his name. And there's been too many brothers that have been hiding on the corners. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. You've got a responsibility to go back to Lodabar. Your work's not done just because you made it to the palace. Oh, bless the name of the Lord. But you've got a responsibility to help somebody else make it across. Thank you, Jesus. Don't pull up the ladder because you climbed to the top. Don't blow up the bridge because you made your way across. Thank you, Jesus. But reach your hand back down the ladder and pull somebody else up out of Lodabar. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. That's the name of the Lord. Somebody got to tell themselves, it's all right if you got it now. Just hold it for me. I'll be there to get it after a while. Oh, bless the name of the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. You got to make up in your mind that what God has for me, it is for me. I might not have it right now. I may not get it next week. You might try to stop me from getting it. But if God said it's mine, I want you to know after a while, I'm going to get what belongs to me. Sometimes God got to strip what you got so you don't depend on yourself. He got to take away from you so you understand how to depend on El Shaddai. Come on in here. Thank you, Jesus. Our young people are dying. Cracked out. Suicide. Homicide. They'll kill you at the drop of a dime. Our jails are full. Yet the crime still runs rampant. 90.7 WTCC. Good morning and welcome to the Spoken Word. I'm your host, Bishop Talbert Swan II, and as usual, we'll be telling it like it is through cultural idioms and nuances that shape the order, ethos, and chaos of the African-American experience. Words have their own vitality. They shape their own consciousness, create their own context for interpreting social and spiritual reality. The spoken word contains the power to reshape the landscape of society.
4 minutes now past the hour of 9 a.m. And I want to thank Mr. Jim Malachias bringing us live remotely from the man cave straight to our listeners on WTCC. It has been an interesting last 10 months that we have been doing this remotely, and Jim makes sure that we get on the air every week. And so, we are so grateful for his work and for everybody at WTCC who work tirelessly, volunteering their time to bring you the best in music, talk, everything in between. Want to shout out all of my viewers and listeners across the world who are on social media, who are rolling with me on Facebook, Twitter, Periscope. Where else are y'all at? YouTube. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. All right. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure y'all like everywhere. Make sure y'all share it with somebody. Let them know Bishop is live right now. Okay. Listen, here's what I want to talk about today. Well, first of all, let me say this before I even get into my subject. Today is February 8th, and today is the wife and I's 30-year anniversary. I know what you're saying, and I know what you're thinking, that you guys don't look a day over 25. How could it be your 30-year anniversary? But it is. It is our 30-year anniversary. I was looking at a couple of photos. I'll post them later with a tribute. And one of the photos was on our wedding day when we were walking out of the church that where I serve as pastor, and she's first lady right now. We were walking out of the church holding hands. And then I looked at a photo from the 25th pastoral anniversary, and we were holding hands. And it reminded me of an experience very early on when we were newlyweds, hadn't been married a year yet. And we were going to the grocery store, and we ran into a couple of friends of ours. We were holding hands going to the grocery store, and they looked at us. We ran into Jeff and Evelyn Smith, and Evelyn said, "Oh, isn't that cute? They're holding hands." And she said, "Well, we've been married 9 years. Let's see if you guys are still holding hands after 9 years." Well, it's 30 years, and we still hands. So anyway, shout out to wifey, to my wife, First Lady Cynthia Swan. Happy anniversary. And she's going to come on a little later, about 9:45. So those of you who've been seeing Beauty and the Beast, or whatever you want to call it, First Lady will be on with me at 9:45. But before we get to that subject I want to talk about today, do Black people have allies? Do we have allies? Because everybody wants to say they're an ally in our struggle for justice. I don't really even like the term ally because, you can kind of sit on the side of the road somewhere and look in and call yourself an ally. Do you have any skin in the game? I mean, you know what I'm saying? What is your investment in this thing here? While you're talking about allyship, do you have an investment in this? And that's what's important to me, because there are a lot of people claiming to be allies, but they kind of come in and out of it whenever they feel like it. And you can't be an ally when you roll in and out of this thing when you feel like it, because we don't have an option as Black people to opt out of the struggle whenever we feel like it. We got to be in this thing permanently. And I'm going to talk a little bit about anti-Black bigotry, not among white folk, because there's a lot of anti-black bigotry among so-called people of color. I put up a post, a tweet that was a little bit controversial, and people weren't feeling it. Well, some folk were, a lot of folk were, a lot of folk weren't. And I said, black people are always advocating for black and brown people. But how come those brown people that we're always advocating for? We're advocating for DACA, the people at the border, immigrants, Latino, Asians, Native Americans. But then we don't ever hear those brown folk, as they're struggling for their own causes, ever talk about brown and black people. What's up with that? Yeah, that's a question we got to ask them. All right. So that's what's on the table today. 413-337-1867. 413-337-1867. I see y'all rolling here. Somebody is here all the way from Carthage. Wow. Rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you're coming in from. I see you, Kathy Swanson. I see you, cousin Lisa. I see you, Mark. I see you there. I see you, Jerry. I see you, Justin. I see so many of you all on Periscope. Look like I got a vibrant YouTube audience this morning. Always a vibrant Facebook audience. So rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you chime in from. We'll get some shout outs out there to you as well. But tell somebody, tell a friend, share it. Let them know the bishop is on the air. Stay with us. Don't y'all go nowhere. We'll be right back.
I look in the mirror and I like what I see. A strong, beautiful black woman staring back at me. One who's seen a lot of pain and had her share of sorrow, but who never gave up hope for a brighter tomorrow. I've been lied to, cheated on, stolen from and hid, but it just made me stronger and I refuse to quit. That's right. And though I've been tempted, I refuse to stoop to their level. I rose above that nonsense and made a liar of the devil. All right now. The devil who said I wasn't good enough, cute enough, or worthy of love, I kicked his butt with divine power from above. Power that says I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me and brought me out of darkness so that I could see that I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm a child of the King. Abundant love for me, he came to bring. Oh yes, when I look in the mirror, I love what I see. She's looking good. That strong, beautiful black woman, that woman is me.
Yeah, this one is for all the brothers that passed, but more particularly one because it affected me drastically. I remember my sister gave me the call and I was in awe. Matter of fact, it felt the farthest from reality. She seen somebody post RIP with his name and I said I doubt it's the same friend I had since the 7th grade. She said I'ma call his sister and double check and call me back. Said he himself and it had been there for days. Initially it didn't click, then I remembered that I hadn't seen or heard from the homie all week. Wish she had told me what had him feeling lonely and weak. I guess everybody got demons we don't even speak of, cause I was with him exactly a week before the call. Just under 20, he couldn't even purchase alcohol. My best friend for like 6 or 7 years. I'm not ashamed to say I shedded plenty tears, but it was hard. He was somebody I had memories with. The first person I ever burned any trees with. The worst feeling telling is knowing that you will leave us in all this grievance without a reason. One of the first people to ever believe in me. When it came down to it, you knew you could call me if you needed me. Cause that information I wouldn't have ever imagined. It's sad thinking about it. I ain't happy that happened, but it made me. There was plenty times when I thought that it would drive me crazy. But looking back on it, now I see all the drive that it gave me. I learned more about why I am who I am on the daily. I know it may sound crazy, but I'm glad that it made me. Yeah, was born in son pastor, he was who I was named after. Matter of fact, I even got some of his characteristics. Both of messages for the people, I just mind with rhythm on beat. He do his on the pulpit with scriptures. Well connected, respected in the community. Ever since I was little, I felt like there was some pressure on me. It started off with little stuff like when my four brothers to church, and then they forced us to get up and say a testimony. Getting older, had to watch how I acted in public, cause people wouldn't hesitate to put that in discussion. Chatting like, isn't that the pastor's kid? I'm like, yeah, that's me, but please expect me to be exactly like my daddy. Don't discredit my family for how I am. I'm not a little kid no more, I'm now a man. And I ain't pointing fingers, I'm not trying to do no blaming at all. When it comes to how I came up, I wouldn't change it at all, because it made me. There was plenty times when I thought that it would drive me deep. But looking back on it now, see all the drive that it gave me. I learned more about why I am who I am on the daily. I know it may sound crazy, but I'm glad that it made me. Yeah, that it made me. Yeah, glad that it made me. Looking back on it now, I see all the drive that it gave me.
All right, 90.7 WTCC. That was T. Swan, my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. You got to pick up his music. T. Swan, anywhere you stream, Spotify, Pandora. What's the one by Jay-Z and them? I forget it. But anywhere you stream music, you can get it. Apple Music, all of that stuff. Check him out. He's got some new stuff out. And it's popping, okay? So check it out, all right? Check it out. Somebody type that in the comments. Check it out. All right, so listen. There was a survey done. And in the survey, there was a group of Black professionals who were asked what they thought about the term ally, because we hear that term thrown around a lot. Here at the Greater Springfield NAACP, we did a forum in conjunction with Pioneer Valley Project entitled From Ally to Accomplice, because an accomplice has a more vested interest in the caper, okay? You know, when somebody robs a bank and the person sitting in the car waiting to drive them away, they're an accomplice. They got skin in the game. They can get arrested and go to jail, right? They're not sitting at home telling you, I support you, okay? They have an active role in what's going on, and they are subject to whatever consequences come as a result of what's going on. That's an accomplice. See, the problem is a lot of times our so-called allies, they got no skin in the game. You know, they tweet support, they post support, but they not gonna go out there and do nothing to put themselves on the line. You know, that's a little bit too much. We don't need no more allies. We need some accomplices. But anyway, let me get back to the survey. So this survey asked Black professionals what they thought about the term ally. Some of the responses were, I hate the term. I think it's very passive. You can sit on the sidelines and watch as an ally. Not being racist does not mean you're an ally. And let me pause parenthetically right there. There's no such thing as not being racist. It's either you're racist or you're anti-racist. But I just thought I'd throw that in there for $1. Another response was, you think you're an ally because we're friends, but you're just a bystander. Being an ally is passive. It's being a bystander and an observer. We need partnership, advocacy, sponsorship. All right. Another person said, I don't want guilty white people who feel like they're our savior coming to our rescue, because then it becomes about making them feel good instead of addressing and correcting the systemic inequities Black people have experienced. That's deep right there, because we got a whole lot of white saviors out there, because they're quick. Listen, they quickly tell me on social media, I work tirelessly in the Black and Latino communities. I mentor little Black kids. I donated to a predominantly Black club. And they beat their chest like I'm supposed to say thank you. Like you get brownie points for decency. You know, I mean, for real though, y'all, there are white folk out there who feel like they deserve a cookie for not being a jerk. You know, that Black folk ought to be grateful for them having basic human decency. Someone else said, when you can't tell me anything you've done specifically in support of Black people, you are not an ally. Now, the dictionary definition of ally is this. It says one that is associated with another as a helper, a person or group that provides assistance and support in an ongoing effort, activity, or struggle. All right. And so it's no wonder why Black professionals really bristled at this term ally. You know, it's no wonder they bristled and basically concluded that first of all, racism was not created by Black people. Black people shouldn't be the ones to fix it. And therefore, why should we have allies to fix something that white folks started in the first place? I often say this. Racism is the one thing that white folks definitely discovered that they won't take credit for. Okay? They took credit for a whole lot of patents and discoveries and inventions by Black folk, but they don't want to take credit for racism. And they should definitely have that patented because they definitely founded that. They discovered it. They perpetuate it. You know, they enhance it. Everything to do with it, they got something to do with it. But it's the one thing that is theirs that they consistently deny any responsibility for. They don't want no parts of systemic racism. And so, I mean, that's it's real. We didn't create it. We shouldn't have to be the ones to fix it. We really shouldn't have to ask for help and assistance and support to eradicate 400 years of being traumatized and terrorized by systemic racism that they started. Think about it. We're the only people who are tasked with fixing a problem that they started. Now they preach to us, you ought to take responsibility. You know, personal accountability is important. You know, white evangelicals are heavy on that, personal accountability. But white folk don't want to take no personal accountability when it comes to systemic racism in America. When it comes to the traumatization and the terrorizing of black people, they want to play dumb and pretend they ain't got nothing to do with that. Creating a so-called level playing field for black people requires the same type of intentional, persistent effort, advocacy that they took to create the system of white supremacy to begin with. Okay? And so I need for your white friends, and I know there's a whole lot of white fragility out here. Folks get upset. I was looking at this morning as I was preparing for the program. I was looking at a tweet by Jamel Hill, who's talking about how the NFL, you know, how they played the Inspired Change commercial yesterday during the Super Bowl, and how they partnered with Jay-Z supposedly to fight systemic racism. Yet and still, you've got a black offensive coach of the Bucks who didn't want interview to be a head coach on any NFL team, but you got white dudes who have never coached professionally ever who get interviews. And it seems to me that the NFL ought to be fighting systemic racism within the NFL. But the point to this little story is, underneath her tweet, there was a whole lot of fragile, triggered white folks. Their white fragility kicked in on steroids. And one constant question I kept seeing being asked by white folks was, can we please stop talking about race? Why do we always have to talk about race? And of course, that prompted me to tweet something. And I said, white people always want us to stop talking about race, but they don't want to stop being racist. The irony of that. We don't want to have to stop being racist. We don't want to have to do anything about systemic racism, but we just want y'all to stop talking about it. And they know that's not going to solve the problem of racism. They always say, well, if you're talking about racism, it'll go away. No, if we stop talking about it, y'all won't have to deal with our push against it. You're not going to stop being racist. You're not going to dismantle racist systems. You just don't want to have to deal with opposition to it. I mean that's the reality of it. And see, let me help you here, since we're now on the other side of the Trump administration, even though the impeachment trial is starting this week. So we're on the other side of his presidency. I want you to watch all of the super white warriors, all of the resistors. Okay? Over the past 4 years, we had a whole lot of folk in the resistance. Remember, you go on Twitter, everywhere else, social media, they got hashtag resistance in their bio because they wanted you to know I'm down with the resistance. Now, notice there was no resistance when Obama was president. There was no resistance when George Bush was president. There was no resistance when Clinton was president. But this resistance appeared under Trump because Trump was overtly racist. He was an in-your-face white supremacist. He was so racist, it shocked white people. Bush was racist too. Clinton was racist, but it didn't bother them so much. It's okay for Clinton to sign a crime bill that would disenfranchise black people, cause a so-called war on drugs continuing from the Bush senior administration, but it would up the ante by spearheading modern day mass incarceration. Yeah, but he didn't say racist stuff like Trump did. So they could stomach that, you know, even though he signed welfare reform, continuing the policies of Ronald Reagan, who coined the term and called black women welfare queens. But it was Clinton who signed welfare reform, putting hundreds of thousands of black babies and young people off of the welfare rolls, couldn't get food stamps, et cetera, just so he could move to the center and get reelected. He was willing to sacrifice black bodies. Clinton was a stone cold racist, but he didn't say racist stuff. He didn't say, look at my African American. And he didn't call Nazis and white supremacists very fine people. So white folk were okay with that type of racism. Long as you were a polite racist, there was no resistance. It was acceptable. But when Trump came on, the resistance rose up. And here's the thing. You got to understand, is a lot of these white allies that popped up during the Trump administration and called themselves the resistance, they were not anti-white supremacy. Okay? They were not anti-racism. They were not anti-bigotry. They were anti-Trump. And what you're going to find out right now, I see you, Erica, signing on the Instagram. What you're going to find out right now is how many of them are going to be disenfranchised from the resistance. They're going to go back to their comfortable corners that they were in as long as a Democrat president was in office that wasn't an in-your-face, overt racist. They're going to go back to their comfort zone now that we got Trump out of office and we got regular racism, and we have a president that's calling Nazis very fine people. Everything's going to be all right. And I can now retire from the resistance. You're going to find out how many of them were really so-called allies. So the question I have for you is, do we even have allies? Do black people have allies, or are we in it by ourselves? And I know somebody's going to say, without white folks, y'all would have never got Obama. There were white folk who gave their lives in the civil rights movement, so on and so forth. All that is true. All of that is true. But I'm speaking against the broader context of contemporary times when we had a large number of white folks for the last 4 years that considered themselves part of the resistance under a Trump administration who had never delved into civil rights advocacy prior to him taking office, as if they didn't know racism existed until he got elected. It's like they were oblivious to systemic racism. Then Trump got elected and they were like, oh my God, America is racist. It always been that way. Like my Uncle Ben would say, been like that all day. You know, this ain't nothing new. been like that all day. You know, and then let me get off of our liberal white anti-Trump resistance allies. And let me deal with this before wifey comes on. With these people of color. And the anti-blackness that comes along with these people of color. Because that's the problem. That's a huge problem. Good morning, caller. All right, if you're trying to call in, I'll get to you. 413-337-1867. Because you have to understand colonization and white supremacy did a job even on so-called people of color and black people in different parts of the diaspora. You can be black and anti-black at the same time. You don't believe me? Just ask Candace Owens. You know. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Bishop. Zeta here. I just wanted to, of course, I agree with everything that you're saying. And I put it in the comments, but I wanted to say it out loud so that everybody could hear. I didn't watch the Super Bowl, of course, because I'm counting the NFL still.
Gotcha.
Because I don't see Colin Kaepernick anywhere near around there.
Right.
But I just don't want people to go back to sleep after watching, the Super Bowl and all the ads. I heard there was a lot of people of color performing in the ads. And I think a lot of times that's the way of them putting you to sleep after, like the language that you're using and the truth that you're telling. They don't want you to realize it. So I just
they're hypnotizing you to their own bigotry, and which is the reason why I thought it was excellent that Jamel Hill brought up the issue of we've got less than 5 black head coaches. We've got a very tiny percentage of black ownership in the NFL. We've got qualified black coaching staff that don't get interviews to be head coaches, and white folks with no experience get interviews, and then they can't whitewash away their treatment of Colin Kaepernick, their so-called blackballing of Kaepernick for having the audacity to do a nonviolent protest against anti-blackness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bishop, so much for your work.
All right. Thank you for your call. 413-337-1867. And so somebody might say, okay, wait a minute, Bishop. What do you mean when you say anti-blackness? When I say anti-blackness, I'm referring to the historical and the current, because it's not in the past. Okay. The historical and the current violence exercised against black people at every level of personal, interpersonal, cultural, political, and economic life. All right. Every level. Anti-blackness. One moment, caller. And when I talk about violence, from a broad perspective, I'm talking about from undermining, not respecting black leadership, to mass incarceration and police murder of black people. That's anti-blackness. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes. Talbert Swan. There are some people that have white allies, and I think what it is, black folks have got a lot of pride, and we don't cry out to really white folk like we do other black folk. But I feel that if we cry out to our white allies, I think they would be more acceptable.
Wait. Hold on. What do you mean cry out? Wait, what do you mean cry out? Why do we need to cry out? Wait, let me ask the question. Why do we need to cry out to white folks to help us to deal with racism that was started by and is perpetuated by white folks?
Yeah, but I mean, like when we have problems, we see people react, cry out. Let me associate this thing over in it was somewhere over. Remember this? It was a political problem, and this Indian person set themselves on fire. And the every spring thing would have got himself on fire and burn himself up. But I feel, I got a couple white friends, and I mean, we're associated. I consider them friends, but
No, you can't be racist. You got some white friends.
The way I can express myself and express themselves, people need to look at us and learn a lesson the way we express ourselves. And maybe the world will, and I'm there, I'm almost 100 years old. It's a lot that can be learned.
All right. Well, I'm gonna tell you what, man. I'm gonna tell you what. You doing good. You doing good. Wait, you doing good for somebody. All right, you're doing good for someone who's almost 100 years old. I tell you. But I'm not down for crying out and begging white folk to stop brutalizing us. You know, that's what they want. They want us begging and pleading and asking. No, you don't beg folk that are brutalizing you and dehumanizing you. You don't cry out to them. You know, listen. And I know I get in trouble every time I say this because, you know, I got these judgmental folks who say, well, you know, you're supposed to be a Christian. You shouldn't be quoting a Muslim. If what the Muslim is saying makes sense, I'll quote anybody who make good sense. Malcolm said, you know, for us to be kind to folk, treat everybody right, be courteous, obey the law. But somebody puts his hands on you, send them to the cemetery. You know, I believe we have a right to resist violence by any means necessary. And that we shouldn't have to cry out to white folk to be decent. You know, when people see atrocities, they ought to be willing to do something about it. If you got to beg people to have humanity, that's a problem. That's a problem. And like I said, it's not just white folks. We've got to challenge anti-blackness. My sister Zeta just called. I consider her an ally. She puts skin in the game, you know, and we do have accomplices like her who have. But we've got to challenge anti-blackness in the Latinx community. We've got to challenge it in the African community. Whole lot of folk from the motherland think they're better than black folk in America. Well, we're not like them. I'm not black. Matter of fact, they get adamant about the fact that they're not black. They'll tell you, don't call me black, because they don't want to be associated with African Americans. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. You?
I'm doing great. I'm just listening at the subject you're on right now, and you're exactly right. A lot of these people still think that they're definitely your lifetime guardian just because they speak to you in the morning, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it comes right down to it, to where, and I was listening. I listened at the genealogies there about Brother Gates that lived up there in Cambridge, Mass.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking about all of the entities that we've made and built all over the world. And right now they come and like discover stuff like Columbus discovered America and put ownership on it. But it comes right down to it. As far as, you know, getting skin in the game, these people don't have, you know, basically takers. And to me, look at it this way right here. You know, like James Brown used to say, I don't need nobody giving me nothing. The only thing that black people want actually in the world or in this country is the same opportunity you have.
That's it.
I'm going to run by you.
That's it. That's
you know
it.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That you and I are going to run by that, and they know it. So there has to be a systemic, you know, hold up there to make sure that when you get to that door is slammed in your face. And we know that. So right now, with the fear factor, you know, Biden or Harris or whoever is there in trying to get some laws broken as far as racism, systemic racism, these people are scared to death. That's why all of the heads right now are sticking up in the wilderness, realizing that whether you get out there and put that bulldozer in my face or not, we're still going to make it.
All right. I appreciate your call, bro.
Kind of put that in there. And, you know, I'm going to call you, you know, periodically anyway. And
yes, sir.
We're always on the same page. So just keep up the good stuff. Because a lot of people, and some of the ones you're talking to today or will talk to, they still don't get it.
Yeah.
They still think, you know, somebody owes something or somebody has to give you opportunities to do it.
Right.
If, like I say, if we got the opportunity, go do it. If you got to, you know, get out there and bang it out a little bit, then do that too, you know?
Yeah. All right. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. You have a good day, sir.
You too. 413-337-1867. Let me get this in, and then I'm going to bring wife onto the program. I said we need to challenge this anti-blackness in the Latinx community, African community, Asian community, the Indian community, the Caribbean community, the Native American community. We're always fighting for so-called people of color, but we need more so-called people of color to confront, to tackle, and to unlearn the anti-blackness that allows them to unconsciously comply with maintaining structural anti-black racism. You got indigenous and other people of color who traditionally lack the power to enact racism toward any other marginalized group, but they can and they do exercise clear racial prejudice against black people. And let me tell you the reason why. Because anti-blackness is a product of white supremacy. It can't exist outside of the social construct of a hierarchy that is based on skin color. And so what happens is brown and black communities exist under this white supremacist paradigm, and as a result, they're pitted against one another. And they're made to think that we can't get our justice if black people get their justice. And so they want to diminish what we're going through by saying, well, other communities of color go through similar issues, as if it's a competition. The dynamic is rooted in the way that white supremacy informed the founding of this nation when it came to Native Americans. And so they exist within a paradigm that causes us to lash out and to fight against one another. And so we have folk whose skin ain't white, but all skin folk ain't your kinfolk. Okay. And so we've got to challenge the anti-blackness in our own diaspora. Our African brothers who look down on black folk. Our Jamaican brothers and sisters who look down on us. Our folk from Belize and from Trinidad look down on black folk and want to tell you, I'm not black. What do you think you are? Take this last call and we'll bring on the first lady. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, Talbert Swan. You sound mighty good this morning. You sound like a Tom Brady boy. Have a good day.
I don't know what he said I sound like, but okay. All right, 413-337-1867. Wake up.
I wasn't asleep.
Okay. All right. For some of y'all, Mark, you in particular, um, who been asking about First Lady. There she is.
Marco.
There she is.
So I take it you're not talking about my big brother, Mark Bayman. You're talking about another Mark?
I'm talking about one of my avid listeners. One of my avid listeners.
Hi, everybody. I'm back. I
told this story.
COVID.
I told this story, and I'm sure you weren't even listening because you don't be listening to my program. You be upstairs doing whatever. Anyway.
Oh, we got a happy anniversary from Zeta.
So I was telling this story to the audience earlier about when we were newlyweds, and because I was looking through some photos, to make my happy anniversary post, and I looked at the picture of us walking out of the church at our wedding, and we were holding walking out of the church.
June or February?
In June. That's the only time we walked out the church.
Okay.
And then I looked at the picture from the 25th, my 25th pastoral anniversary banquet.
Okay.
And we were holding hands then, and it reminded me. You remember the time we were going into Big Y up on Boston Road? I think it was Big Y up there, and we ran into Evelyn and Jeff Smith.
Yeah.
And Evelyn said, "Oh, that's so cute. They're holding hands." And she said, "Well, we've been married 9 years." Like that was something else.
Yeah.
She said, "We've been married 9 years," and they were holding hands. They said, let's see if y'all are still holding hands after 9 years." And I was telling the audience how, when me and my wife, are out and go places and stuff, it's 30 years and we still hold hands.
We still hold hands.
So it reminded me of that particular situation. But it's been 30 years, 3 whole decades.
I can't believe it. Can you believe it, man?
Yeah. It's like really like
we are our parents. Like when we got married, we are our parents. Yeah,
that time has just woo. It's like, so Uncle Talbert tells this story, and we don't ride trains too much anymore, and we don't have telephone poles so much anymore because of underground wiring and stuff. He tells the story how the phone lines all, you had the telephone poles, and along the track, he said when the train first took off, it was going at a slow pace, and you can count the poles. 1, 2, 3, 4. But as the train picked up speed and went by those poles, it was, you couldn't count them anymore because it went so fast. He said that's how the years go by. That
he would be absolutely right.
Yeah, the older you get, the faster it seems that they pass by. It just doesn't seem like it's been 3 whole decades, but it has. And
I found myself really grateful for Facebook today. And let me tell you why, man. Because I looked at our memories and I was like, oh my God, I forgot about this. I forgot about that. I forgot about this. I forgot about, and I'm like, our brain, or whatever. But yeah, it's been 30 years, a lot of memories, a lot of ups and downs. It's been a lot of work for those that are kind of out there listening. Yeah, it's been a lot of work. Marriage is work. I don't want nobody to. Yeah.
And it's about compromise. It's about endurance. It's about resilience. That's what I wanted to come up with. It's about resilience. And having a made up mind. And then, I think part of the problem, not just in marriages, just in general, is that oftentimes people don't appreciate things until they lose them or are faced with losing them. And
well, babe, I'm glad you said that.
Wait, I'm getting to a point.
You getting to it?
I'm getting to a point. You know, the old saying, you don't miss your water till your well run dry. And when my wife was going through COVID, and you know, when I was checking her oxygen, and the doctors were saying her oxygen is too low, you need to take her to the emergency room, so on and so forth. And I thought about, because, you know, in November, just a month earlier, we lost my mother-in-law, your mother, to COVID, and she went to the hospital and never came back from the hospital. And I thought about that as I was taking you to the hospital, that, you know, I don't want this to be a situation where I take my wife to the hospital and she don't ever come back home. And you know, when you're faced with the possibility of losing someone that you love, like that, I think it adds a whole new perspective on things. It really makes a lot of the petty stuff seem really petty. And a lot of the things that are not so important kind of fade into the background. And so I'm just saying to the audience, appreciate the people in your life, you know, for they add to your life. Now I'm done. You can go ahead.
No, well, I'm glad that you brought that up, because that was something that was extremely pressing on my heart to kind of bring to the audience today. And I'm glad that you're willing to share, because you're a very private man. So you don't really,
that ain't changed.
Yeah. So you don't really like
that ain't changed. So don't be trying to get all deep into it.
But I gotta keep it 100. You know how your wife is. You know, opposites attract. So, you know, I'm very transparent. But I just thought that it was profound, and it really was a blessing. It was like, in that moment when we was kind of going through that, you know, and I didn't know how you was feeling. I was spending all of my energy, you know, trying to get better, trying to, you know, fight the virus and everything, you know, or whatever. But then when you sent me that text message when I was in the hospital, in the emergency room, and they was, you know, doing the test, and I suppose you had became, you know, extremely fearful. And so you sent me a text message, and you basically said, I know that we've been through, I'm paraphrasing, but I know that we've been through a lot of ups and downs and this, that, and the other. But when you said, it was a one line in there when you said, but I need you to fight like hell, because I can't imagine going on in life without you. And it made me, you know, it was like, it put my mind in rewind, because, you know, we do sometimes get caught up in petty things, and sometimes those petty arguments turn into, you know, really big arguments, and, you know, you're stressful, you know, it's a lot of stress, it's a lot of tension, you know, or whatever a family might be going through, or a family just might be in outright crisis, you know, or whatever. We're dealing with a crisis with this pandemic, and then, you know, certainly, you know, with the loss of so many loved ones, family, friends, you know, so on and so forth. But it made me realize that, you know, we have, as a couple, we've, you know,
wait, pause right there, man, because we only got 2 minutes left on WTCC, and but then we're going to continue on with our listening audience. So in a real 1 minute, babe, not a Cynthia 1 minute, in a real tell the WTCC audience anything you want them to know.
I hope they can go with us over to, you know, the other outlets, you know, and listen to the rest of the show. But I'm glad to be back, everybody. I made it through. I survived COVID. There's a lot of people that I love, you know, didn't. but I'm grateful that I'm still here and I still got an opportunity to get it right and to do more. And and thank you for all of your prayers, all of your messages, your cards, dropouts. People was dropping off suits, the whole nine. So thank you, everybody. I love you, and I hope to be back, doing some shows or whatever with Bishop again. So I love you.
All right, to my WTCC audience, if you're looking for a place to worship, check us out at the Spring of Hope Church of God in Christ, 35 Alden Street. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, all of that, every Sunday at 11 a.m. And listen, this Wednesday, in lieu of our Wednesday night midweek live stream, I'll be live streaming at 8 p.m. with another edition of the Bishop's Barbecue, Kojic edition. Until the next time I talk to you and you talk to me, always remember, God loves you. And so do I. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere, streaming audience. All right. So we're back to the streaming audience. Had to do my sign off for WTCC. We simulcast. So while we're here with you all, we're also live over the air on WTCC radio program that I've been doing. Now this is the 21st year, 21 years. That's hard to believe as it is that wife and I have been married for 30 years. Time certainly flies by. All right, babe, I want you to go ahead and finish what you were saying to the audience before we had to sign off.
No, it's just that text message, because they wouldn't allow you to stay in the emergency room or anything with me. As a matter of fact, you had to drop me off, and I could see the apprehension, in you, the fact that you had to drop me off, but I didn't know, what you was thinking. But anyway, when that text message came through on that one line that basically said, I need you to fight like hell because, I can't imagine going through the rest of my life without you. It made me realize so many things. It made me realize that, as a couple, we're very busy and, we kind of get caught up with life, and we certainly get caught up with ministry and, and other factors, or whatever the case may be. And we get to the point sometimes to where we might unintentionally kind of neglect the marriage, or whatever. And I realized that it had been a long time since I had heard from you like that. And so it brought tears to my eyes. So I was laying there in the hospital bed, and they was doing an EKG, and they was doing some other tests, or whatever at the time, because my oxygen level, they wanted to make sure that it was increasing and stabilizing and everything. But as I was laying there and all the other things that was going on, and I read that message, I realized just how important it is to appreciate one another, and not just for the big things, but the little things. And I also, it was just so much that I learned in that moment. But that text message, and hearing from you in that way was very encouraging, and it made me feel like even if I don't make it back home, or whatever, I know that I was loved, that I was loved by my husband. So yeah.
All right, what else is going on?
It's a whole lot going on. I feel like, the reason why, we needed to connect in this way on this day is, we talk about racism, we talk about justice, injustice, we talk about, white supremacy, all of that kind of stuff. We're overwhelmed with it. It is life, but I think sometimes we need to take a step back and celebrate. So today is a celebration day, so of course, we're in a pandemic and we can't do the things, that we've done in the past and celebrating our anniversary. You can take me to Broadway, go see The Color Purple.
Nope. We can't go to Broadway this time.
No, we can't go to Broadway this time,
You can come down to the man cave.
Or you can come up to the bedroom, whatever. Yeah, I know. But, so we got to make the day special. We do. We have to make the day special.
Look at Whitney.
I see.
That's our daughter on there saying, I'm trying to get there. She's 6 months in to her marriage.
She's 6 months in. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. You got 29.6 to go.
That's all. That's all. 29 and a half more years. You'll be right there.
You'll be right
there.
Uh-huh.
And we hope we're still kicking, because that would be 59 years. Now, when I think about Uncle Talbert and Aunt Aura before she transitioned, were married 72.
72 years.
72 years.
A lot of people don't even live that long. Can you imagine, being
Donald
married?
Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know Brown was married that long. He said, welcome to the
over 30.
He said, welcome to the over 30 crew.
Yeah, Black Love. Yes, Black Love. This is Love Week, babe.
So
Valentine's Day is next Sunday, so this is Love Week.
Eddie Anderson says he and his wife wish to do the same. So if you're on here and you are married, throw in the comments the number of years. We want to celebrate it, whether it's 6 months like my daughter or 60 years. Whatever it is, we celebrate you, because these days folk don't seem to be able to stay together 6 minutes. Okay, so you just want to make us feel old now, right? Right, Whitney?
I'm proud of my age now. I'm 53. I'm proud to say it. I'll be 54 next month. Yes.
But I tell you what, just take a look. We make 30 years look good.
Well, we trying.
No, I'm not trying.
We trying, Bishop.
I'm not trying.
We trying.
I ain't trying. Making it look good.
Yeah, we trying. We trying to get that. Also, 37 years. Oh, Angela been married 37 years.
Who's that?
Wow, Angela Keyshawn, 18.
Wait. Hold on.
Miss Prissy, come on.
Who been married 37 years?
Angela Thorpe.
You know what, Angela? I want to see y'all marriage certificate.
You so wrong. Wow, that's amazing.
37 years.
They
all right.
Toward 40. They headed toward 40.
Shout out to the 37. Can anybody beat 37? Anybody on here can beat 37? Keyshawn, 18 years. Well done, young man.
Woo, 43. 43,
Let's
Deborah Mercer.
43
years.
He's got 9 years this August. Well done. Now, who's this? All right. Miss Prissy, 27 years. You right on our heels.
You remember that? Uh-huh.
You right on our heels.
But listen, I mean, I'm
2 years in April. Keep it going.
Which is wonderful. Keep it going. Listen, keep it going.
Who is this? Woo!
Deborah Mercer.
43.
Come on, 43.
43 years. I think you the top right now. Can anybody beat 43 years? Anybody can beat 43 years.
We was
Holla at
10
a
and
brother.
12. We was 10 and 12 years old when they got married.
7 years. All right, Eddie.
Yeah. You
All right,
over
Eddie.
that 7 year, you getting over
Now,
that 7 year hump, you know. They say the first 7 years are the most trying.
Eddie was one of the most ballingest people during my day. That brother was a beast on the basketball court. Let me tell you.
Well, he's trying to be a beast in marriage. So come
Yeah,
on through,
I'm just
husbands.
saying.
Come on through, husbands. Yes. Somebody 4 years. Congratulations.
Lady Boyd.
Lady Boyd, 37 years. Wonderful.
37.
Wonderful. God bless you. I was talking to somebody the other day and we was talking about marriage and I just asked the question. I said, what was God's first ordained institution? And they were stumped. They were stumped.
There's only two.
Answer the question. They couldn't answer the question. They were stumped. Yeah. And so I had to say it was marriage.
There's only two institutions, the family and the church.
And so, isn't it weird? Okay, now that I remember now how the conversation came up. So isn't it weird that we know that, those of us who are Bible readers, or whatever, and we are very engaged, very involved in the church, and we know that God put family first, that God is a God about, family first. If you have a family, your family is the priority. Your family is preeminent, or whatever the case may be. But we don't really hear that message preached that much in the church. In some ways, we unintentionally do things to kind of separate the family too, or whatever the case may be. We don't necessarily, do a really good job in focusing on the family, encouraging the family, placing the family together, and so on and so forth. I think it was a little weird thing that happened 5 years ago when you became a jurisdictional bishop. And I kind of, gave myself the title of the family first lady, whatever, given that we're supposed to be pushing family first. So, you don't separate yourself from ministry or church work. You do church work and ministry with your family. You don't leave them behind. You do it with your family. If you are engaged in a proper relationship with God, that is how you do ministry. You do ministry with your family. And we happen to have lots of good friends and that know how to do that and know how to do that well. Do ministry with their family. They don't leave their family behind, whatever. But they do ministry with their family.
So let me put this up here. Just in case y'all want to take us out to dinner or something today.
Look at you. Look at you.
Y'all just might.
If you don't send it to him.
Y'all just might want to take us out to dinner or something today.
We ain't going into no restaurant.
Yeah, we can order it. DoorDash.
We can order it, but we
y'all might want to take us out to dinner or buy some flowers or something like that. So if y'all wanna hook a black couple up, who've been kicking it for 30 years.
30 years.
30 years. There's the Cash App right there. You can go on right there, and if you're over on the YouTube side, you go ahead and hit those cash signs underneath the chat, and you can.
If you don't stop,
you can make a little donation right there.
Everybody's gonna sign off.
Hey, you have not because you ask not.
Anyway,
hey, listen, 30 years, and we've been giving back to this community, You know, that whole time.
Don't make that argument, babe.
Go right ahead. I'm gonna allow them to bless. You know, one of the things that my good friend, Pastor Mark Bayman, had to teach me early on when I was a pastor. When I started pastoring, he and I started pastoring in the same year, in the same neighborhood.
I remember.
And the beginning of my pastoral ministry, I would not take a pastoral offering. I would not allow the church to give to me everything. I wanted everything given to the church to support the church, keep the doors open, do ministry, so on and so forth.
Zayda's asking for my cash out. Put mine up.
And so Pastor Bayman said to me, he said, listen, what I understand the reason you're doing what you're doing. He said, but certain blessings only come into the lives of the saints when they bless their leader. There are certain blessings they only get through blessing the leader. So even if you give the money back to the church, allow them to give to you so that they can be blessed by giving to the leader. So I'm just allowing folk an opportunity.
Yeah, but this is not our church.
To be blessed. This is our
audience of
this
a
is
mixture
my virtual
of
Monday morning church. And I'm allowing them.
Ms. Zayda asking for my, that's right, Ms. Zayda. Ask for my cash.
Well, you need to text her privately, Zayda, because you know this is my show, and that's all that's up on the screen right now.
Look, see, now y'all see the truth. Oh, you know what happens, you know, really in this marriage. But so babe, like if you was to give some advice to some young bloods that's coming up, and you know, one day soon they'll be taking that step, you know, and crossing over that threshold. You know, what are the top 3 things that you need for a young man to know about marriage?
Okay. So the first thing I would tell young men is they need to be sure that this is the time in your life to make this step, and you're doing it for the right reasons. Now, I say that because I've learned a lot, and when I began to do marital counseling for couples, the first thing I do, first day they come in, I don't even have a conversation with them. I send them separate rooms in the church, and I give them both a questionnaire. When they're done,
just get the 3 points. Just get the 3
I'm
points.
to it. I'm making a point now. When they get done with the questionnaire, it asks them all kinds of things. How many kids do you want? Who's going to handle the money? Where do you want to live? Personal stuff. How often do you want to have sex? I mean, all kinds of stuff. And what we always find out when we get to that second counseling session is many times they are on total polar opposite ends of the spectrum. Their answers. She's saying, I want to handle the money. He's saying, no, I'll handle the money. She's saying, I want to have 2 kids. He's saying, I want to have 7 kids. So the moral to that is to have those conversations and learn the expectations are ahead of time. Not once you get married and then you get to know the person and what they want, their desires are, what their expectations are. Find out all of that ahead of time. Number 2, know yourself. You got to, because if you don't know yourself and you're not complete in yourself, then you are a detriment to that woman and to that marriage. The reality is, most of us, when we first got married, we weren't a whole person. We were a fraction. And anybody who knows anything about math, if you multiply a whole number by a whole number, you get an increased number. 2 times 2 gives you 4. It's an increase. You're a fraction, and she's a whole number. 2 times 1/2 is 1. You actually diminish the person that you're marrying when you come in as a fraction. So you need to be a whole individual, and not bring a whole lot of baggage and all kinds of other stuff into that relationship. And then I would say, probably most importantly, understand the essence of manhood in a marriage. I always give this to all men, no matter what, that in a marriage, you are to be three things: a priest, a provider, and a protector. The priest means spirituality in that marriage is your responsibility. You need to have your own relationship with God. And that relationship with God needs to emanate to your wife and to the family. She shouldn't be the one who is the spiritual head of the home. That's your job. You to be the priest. You to be the provider. However y'all set up your situation is on y'all. But here's when we got married, I always say she took my name. I didn't take her name. And it's my job to provide, which means even if she decided she wanted to sit at home and watch soap operas all day, I may not like that. At the end of the day, it's my job to provide for the family. Make sure bills are paid. There's a roof over the head. There's food on the table, so on and so on and so forth. That's your job, brother. You can't be laying up on the couch while she's going to work. And then a protector, which means you ought to protect them emotionally and physically. You ought to be willing to give your life for theirs, for hers. And when you do have children, for theirs as well. So in short, those would be the three things that I would advise young men who are getting married. And what would be your advice to young ladies?
To have a standard, but be willing to compromise that standard. Understand that when you go into a marital relationship, that 50-50 is not gonna fortify the marriage. It has to be 100, and so you have to be willing to give 100% of who you are, and the spouse needs to know that they need to be willing to also give 100% of who they are. I think communication is extremely important. I think that learning how your partner, your spouse communicates, so that you can prevent a lot of heartache and misunderstanding, is extremely important, because misunderstandings can, lead to divorce. Misunderstanding can lead to, even if you don't divorce on paper, if you're living in the same home, it can lead to a lot of stress and tension, and you can be mentally and emotionally divorced from your spouse. In other words, you're not engaged, connected, you're not building vision together, the whole nine. So I think communication is extremely important. And listen, let me say this about that. It is absolutely nothing wrong, and I'm speaking. I think I'm probably speaking more to church folks, because I know that a lot of church people don't believe in counseling and therapy and this, that, and the other, or whatever the case may be. And you don't need to wait until there's a problem to utilize or tap into or access counseling, therapy, or marital counseling, or whatever the case may be. You can utilize marital counseling to enrich your relationship. So things may be good, or whatever case may be, you can use marital counseling to enrich your relationship, or marital therapy to enrich your relationship, to learn some new skills, that would help with communication, to give you a better understanding. Sometimes a counselor or a therapist, like myself, sometimes a counselor or a therapist or whatever might ask the right questions that you never thought of. And then, you receive some insight into your spouse, and it'll make you go, that's why he does that. That's his love language. That's how he shows love. That's how he shows concern or compassion or whatever the case may be. Did I what?
You think you can learn some new skills?
I think everybody can learn some new skills, but they got to be open to it. They got to be open to it, and they got to, tap into the right resources, or whatever in order to do that. Yeah. So, communication definitely. And like my husband said, and I'm going to say it this way, especially as women, always don't ever depend on your spouse to make you happy. You do the things in your life. Always be working. Always be working on yourself, your dreams, your goals, as an individual. Of course, we're better together, but we should be good alone. Like, we should be good in our individuality, or whatever. But when we come together, it should be that much more powerful and impactful. Yeah.
Better together.
I got a lot more, but I'm going to leave it at that.
Now, what about? I got a lot more. Because see, here we live in a day and time now, though, where people don't want to get married. They're like, you know what? Why do we need? Why do we need to get married? What is that resistance about? I
don't know, because I remember as a little girl, and and I hope this doesn't offend anybody, but I'm gonna keep it 1,000 with this one. I remember as a little girl, I made up in my mind. I said, I'm gonna get married, and I'm gonna marry me a strong black man. I remember saying that, and I remember saying it because I felt like the black family had been misrepresented, and that you didn't see, like, I didn't, when I was a kid, I wasn't hearing terms like black love and, so on and so forth. It was always the opposite of that. Like, black men don't stay with their wives, or, you don't see a husband and a wife together. Everybody assumes, when I walked into, a situation or a setting or whatever, that I didn't have a father, and I did, or whatever. But I still used to resent that because I was raised by my grandparents, so I had a father. So, it was like, don't get it twisted. I know what a husband and a wife is, and to be raised up under that, up under that union and so on and so forth, or whatever. So I remember I was a kid. I dreamed it. I said, I'm going to marry me a strong black man. I think that happened too. I ended up marrying a strong black man, or whatever the case may be, because I wanted.
And before y'all get on here about
that was my dream. That was my goal. Let me get this out, babe. Let me get this out. That was my dream. That was my goal as a kid, because I wanted to show the world, in my mind, I wanted to show the world that black love exists, that a black man and a black woman, can get together, stay together, build a strong family, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I was just going to say, before y'all get on there talking about that's racist, you fall in love with who you fall in love with. Look, ain't nothing wrong with black people saying, I want to marry black people.
So, yeah, use a little bit on the light side. Use a little bit on the light side, but you still a black man.
Are you looking at the picture? Are you looking at the video right now? You ain't all that much darker than I am. So just cut it out.
I'm caramel. But it was a lot of colorism in my family too. My mother was a dark-skinned beauty. My grandmother was a dark-skinned beauty. And my paternal side were Creole. So it was a lot of colorism. So when
your granddaddy was like the color of my granddaddy and my mama.
He was right. Well, he could pass for white. And so when he married this dark-skinned beauty, which I was telling you that the other day, I was the lighter one in my family, but I didn't know that. you know, I thought I was dark like my mom. I thought I was dark like my grandmother. I thought I was dark like my sisters. I didn't know that I was lighter until somebody would bring it to my attention, and it used to tick me off, you know, when they would call me yellow or stuff like that, you know, in comparison to my family members.
Well, you ain't
So,
got me
you
by
know,
that much.
I'm a lighter skin. I'm a caramel color, but in my mind, I'm dark skinned. I'm dark skinned.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
dark skinned like my sisters and my mom,
Yeah, and I'm
my
Mandingo.
grandmother. It was a lot of colorism in my family. It was on my paternal side, not on my maternal side, but on my paternal side, which, you know, of course, you know the story. I didn't have a relationship with my father, but his father, my grandfather, is the one that ended up raising me, and certainly, you know, raised me like his daughter.
Well, let me put it like this. Just look at all your kids.
What about all my kids? What about all my kids? That, you know, their color, their complexion kind of run the gamut here. You know.
Okay. They all so-called light skin. So stop.
Yeah. No, they not. Boogie is not light skinned. And neither
you know,
is
if I had time, I
and
put the
neither is
picture up.
Shannon.
I put
Neither
the
is
picture up.
Shannon.
Shannon's the only one.
Look at you. Look at you. Look at you. Our kids,
What?
you know, they're, you know, that's kind of the beauty of us as Black people. You know, two light-skinned people can get together and have a dark-skinned baby, you know, or whatever the case may be. It's beautiful.
There you go. There you go.
You know?
There you go. Somebody just summed it all up right there.
Yeah.
Bam. That's it right there. No matter what it is. You're right. You're right. No matter what it is.
Absolutely.
They said black,
yeah, Black is beautiful.
Black
right.
is beautiful.
I agree. I agree.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Black is beautiful.
Oh, that's all we're talking about. That's you that's trying to be funny.
And black don't crack. Black is beautiful and black don't crack. I need to get this cash app popping, y'all.
Anyway, thank you. My niece Jen sent me some money. Or sent us some money.
Y'all need to help us go to dinner. Help us go to dinner now. Come on now. Let's get this cash app popping. It's been 30 years.
We representing. We keeping it real. If it's on their heart to do it, you know, let people do that. Stop.
Keeping it real. We representing. All right. We representing the diaspora.
So what are we gonna be doing for the rest of the day? I gotta work a little bit, but what are we gonna be doing for the rest of the day, sir?
I don't know.
In this celebration, you know, you can be so corny, but let me say this: 30 years ago, you started out as very attentive, probably more romantic than me, because you used to remember our first date. You used to remember things like
I didn't used to remember. I still remember.
No, you don't do stuff like that no more.
I still remember.
No, you let the whole month of December. By the way, y'all, it was a whirlwind romance.
That don't mean I don't remember.
You know, this has been all of this practical language about, you know, knowing yourself and this, that, and the other. We do that because it was a whirlwind
I can give that advice.
Romance.
That's why I can give that advice. Mm-hmm. We went on our first date on December 8th. On December 8th, and she picked the movie.
Right.
And the movie she picked was called Misery.
I didn't pick the movie. That was the movie that was out.
Yes, you did.
Babe, that was a movie that was out. It had just came out.
Anyway,
and you know,
we went to the movies. She picked.
I was a movie junkie and I was a play junkie. I loved my plays and I loved
the movie with what dude who played in Jack Nicholson.
I don't remember. I can see the
yeah.
No, it wasn't Jack Nicholson. That was not Jack.
Played in the movie.
It was not.
I'm gonna look it right now because see, I'm about
look
to
it up. Look it up. It was not Jack Nicholson.
Who was in the movie, babe?
I can't call the names right now. I can see the lady. I can see the lady, but I can't call her name.
Right? It was somebody.
She lives up here. She lives up here.
Wasn't it somebody Bates?
Yeah. Bates.
So you
Is
don't
it
even know.
Catherine? Is it Catherine Bates? I think it's Catherine.
I don't know. Look, that's what I'm asking. It was 30 years ago. Yeah.
No, it wasn't Jack Nicholson.
Kathy Bates.
Stephanie said the movie was crazy. Yes, it was. And that was the first
The
movie we
movie-
went to go see. You want to tell them about the dinner that we went to afterwards?
I took her to Valley
Why don't you
Steakhouse.
just tell our audience about how...
I took her to Valley Steakhouse.
and I ordered surf and turf.
I don't remember what I ordered. I
did. I ordered surf and turf.
I just know we went to
I was
Valley.
still eating beef at the time. I don't eat beef no
Valley
more.
Steakhouse. And
Lady Boy said they went to see One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Who did?
we went to see the movie that's equivalent to that, Lady Boy.
Yeah. So
we went to see the movie that's equivalent to that.
Went to Valley Steakhouse and
I ordered surf and turf.
You ordered surf and turf, yada yada. And she said, "Now I don't think."
What is this second of the lips?
I don't think we should be going through this on first date, y'all.
First date.
Do this dating. If
no, you gotta back up. I said something before that.
If you're not contemplating marriage, you know, I'm like, can we get through the first date first before you start talking about some marriage?
No, this is what I said. This is what I said because I was saved. I don't know if Bishop was saved for real, but I was saved for real. So this is what I said.
Oh,
I said Bishop. I said Bishop. I didn't say Bishop. I said Talbert, you're not a bad looking dude. And I said, I don't think I'm that bad myself. And I said, I don't believe we should be playing with fire, or whatever. So I said, if you're not dating for marriage, this is going to be our first date and it's going to be our last.
You didn't say all that. You didn't say all that.
Yes, I did.
She didn't say all that, y'all.
Anyway, Sister Mercy said, what was the song? What was our favorite song when we first met? I think I know what it is.
Olita Adams. You can read me by railway. You can read me by railway. I ain't got the words right.
Why?
But
why
just
was that
get here if you can. Huh?
You remember what happened?
What?
Okay, remember? Okay, we, like I said, it was a whirlwind. We had been out on all these dates and stuff. We had met in church and all of this kind of stuff. And I was getting ready to go home for Christmas. And I believe back then, I think it was a cassette tape. It was the cassette tape you bought me, Olita Adams.
Yeah.
And I was listening to it on the plane, or whatever. And I started crying. I said, I gotta mess around and fell in love with this dude. That's what I said on the plane. I said, I messed around and fell in love.
What's up, Calvin? You see our son-in-law on here.
Hey, Calvin. Oh, he said good morning, Mom and Dad. Hey, baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was Olita Adams. It was Olita Adams.
Now she had forgot about that until y'all saw her reaction. When I brought it back to her memory when you asked the question.
I remember it.
You was trying to think of it.
You had forgot. I thought you forgot.
What was it?
No, I remember it. I was trying to remember her name. I remembered the lyrics. I was trying to remember her name. So when you said Olita, I was like, yeah, Olita. I was trying to remember her name.
Let me see.
Y'all answer some other questions because that helps us.
Okay, I don't know your name because I just see Messiah.
Messiah
sent us some money. Thank you. Kathy Swanson sent us a donation as well. Thank you. And the rest of y'all feel like being a blessing.
Don't send it to Bishop.
For 30
years.
For 30 years, if you want to be a blessing. I see, here's the thing about her. She talking all that noise, but she doing it well. I'm always the man of the house. And she now let me tell y'all, watch this. So the whole time she was sick with COVID, right? And I really think now she was really sick. So I'm gonna put that out there. So I'm not saying she was playing because she was sick. But I think it got to a point where she was like, oh, now this Negro is going out, bringing me food and waiting on me and stuff. I'm on
You
milk
ain't
this for a
never
little
did it
bit.
before. You ain't never did it before.
I'm gonna milk this for a little bit. I'm gonna take advantage of this as much as I can. And so it's like, so she got used to it. So even the other day, she had already tested negative for COVID and the whole nine. Baby, you all get me some seafood, and it's like she could only eat.
No, I didn't do it like that. Yeah, I didn't do it like that because I do feel a whole lot stronger.
She can only eat seafood, through her COVID, and so so she got to get crab legs and shrimps and and stuff like that.
No, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what I could eat, so I'm still kind of testing the water, or whatever. But I definitely know. I don't know. I don't know how my appetite and stuff.
Well, the short of what I'm saying is, it
really was.
The short of what I'm saying is, my wife has no problem. She knows that dinner or whatever it is on me, she splurges when I'm paying. Let me just put it that way. Now, our kids will tell you. You got to hear my son tell the story. They'll be like, now when we go out to eat with mom, she be like, y'all can order off of this menu.
that was when they was little.
y'all can order off the menu.
That was when they was little. They grown now. Don't stop.
Only get this amount. This. Wait a minute. Let me just finish.
Do that. We was on a budget.
I'm telling you the story that they tell. But then they said, when we go out to eat with you, Dad, it's like, y'all get whatever y'all want. And it's like,
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
Y'all want dessert? Y'all want dessert?
But you're right. If I was paying, I would be like, listen, don't waste my money, because I don't like my money being wasted. I am frugal in that way. I don't like my money being wasted. I do not. I don't waste no money. That's that.
Why I tell y'all, send it to my Cash App, because at the end of the day, whatever meal we eating, I'm going to be the one paying, and whatever y'all send it to her Cash App is going to stay in her Cash App. Talking about
no, that's not true. That's not true. That is not true.
Listen, the late Bishop O.T. Jones Jr. put it like this. He said, now, my wife is a doctor like I am. She got a doctorate degree like I got. She's an educator.
I was on the phone with her the other day.
She's an educator and a principal. She make plenty of money. He said, but my wife operates on this paradigm that what's hers is hers and what's mine is hers.
Well, my granddaddy taught me that. my granddaddy taught me that. With the way that he treated my grandmother.
So ladies, the lesson is that y'all supposed to have the mentality with the man, what's yours is mine and what's mine is mine.
Yeah, that's about right. My granddaddy taught me that, and he showed me that. That is nothing new, Bishop. So what do you think you're doing? You think you're embarrassing me or shaming me?
No. It's not shaming. It's just putting it out there.
No. My granddaddy taught me that. My granddaddy taught me that. Mm-hmm.
Somebody said amen to that motto. That's got to be a sister who said that.
That is Zeta. My girls.
It got to be a sister who's sitting up there, amen, in that. Yes, sir.
So, babe, in the 30 years, what is one of your best memories of us?
See, now, I got to go into...
Don't preach no sermon.
No, be quiet and let me answer the question, because I have to go into PG mode.
PG?
Yeah. I got to go into PG mode because there are some memories that are more
Lord.
that might be rated.
You always gotta be. Oh my God. And by the way, y'all, I would encourage you strongly, wives, to be up on your bedroom game. I'm just gonna say that. You know, be up on your bedroom game. Always.
See, that's what I'm saying. I gotta have the, you know how records have the explicit version and the other version. So when you ask about memories, you just don't want.
Listen, the Bible talks about the bed being undefiled. That's all I said. Bedroom. All I said was bedroom. Be up on your bedroom game. Thank you, Angela. Thank you.
What that mean?
30 years, 37 years. We got to be up on our bedroom game. Okay. Bishop, what was you going to say? Fun memory. That's why that's your fun memory.
Huh? Anyway.
That's why that's
your
favorite memory.
I ain't even gonna mess with that.
Yes, Lord.
There's a whole lot of memories.
That's why. But babe, you gotta admit something. I know you private, but what? You gotta admit something.
What?
That staying connected in that way can really help you get through some tough times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Staying connected in that way can really, help a marriage get through some tough times, some those down times. What you talked about in the message, you said, I know we've had some ups and downs, or whatever. And I think you said something like, I know I get on your nerves sometimes. I think you said that.
And you get on mine. Did I say that too?
No, you didn't say that. You said, babe, I know I get on your nerves sometimes. But I need you to fight like hell because I need you. I need to come home to me and these kids. That's what you said.
Yeah.
I need to. Do you want me to read it? Because you didn't say that.
I mean, I ain't got no problem with what I said. I just said I must have forgot to tell. It must have been because you were sick. I didn't want to tell you that part. But I'm letting you know that now, just since you're being transparent.
But some stuff. Did you read my post today about us and our anniversary?
No, I didn't
seen me yet. Yeah, because we're not friends on Facebook. Listen, I'm not friends with my kids or my husband. Because sometimes they be doing too much, and I don't wanna get caught up in no stuff. First lady try to keep it. I try to keep myself calm and composed, or whatever. These people be trying to come at my husband, and these people be trying to come at my kids and stuff like that. And so I can't be friends.
Now you know who slugs for me though?
Who?
Whitney.
Oh yeah, I know Whitney does.
Whitney be on the trolls like.
See, I can't do it. I can't do it because man could end up in jail. I end up in jail or something. That project sent. Raised in the projects, grew up in the projects in Dallas, Texas. Every once in a while, I gotta put that girl, in check. I gotta put her in check.
Whitby going back and forth. I go on sometime and look in the comments every now and then. I'll be like, "Who is this Whitney checking in here?" So she be letting them have it. She don't play that messing with my daddy stuff.
Yeah. And I know. So, I know she out there, she handling it, but I learned a long time ago, no, I can't be friends, with my family, or whatever. And certainly not you. I can't be friends with you on Facebook. So you didn't see it. So you didn't see the post. you know. But I was and I want to say this before we get off the show today. We didn't make it through these 30 years, babe, alone. You know, it wasn't just what we did. You know, certainly God has been at the center of our marriage. And even when I thought God made a mistake, you know, even when I thought that, you know, whatever, and I had to get my head together and I had to get things, you know, right. I also recognize that it's the village, it's the people that love us, support us, pray for us, have imparted into us, you know, certainly corrected us, you know, when they felt like we needed correcting, pulled us in, called us out, called us in. You know, it's our village, you know, it's our village. So we're not just celebrating 30 years of marriage, but we're also celebrating the village that helps to sustain a marriage.
Yeah.
It takes everybody, right? It takes family, it takes friends, it takes
It takes
a
a
community. You know, it
yeah.
takes a community to support marriage, to believe in marriage, to want to see black love, to want to see love. You know, it takes all of that. You
You
know,
need
so
that support system. You can't make it on your own. You need to have friends that you can connect with. Both for men and women. You need to have people in your life that that you can share your private thoughts with. And you need to have folks that'll hold you accountable as well. You don't need everybody who's just rubber stamp what you say. Both for sisters and brothers, you don't need folk who are just going to take your side of everything. You know, so if she's going off about him and how terrible he is, of course you're gonna have your girlfriends who are gonna be ready to let's go, but you need that girlfriend that'll be like, wait a minute, but what did you do?
Sensible one.
And what did you say? And
Yeah,
same
what
thing
did you
for the
do?
brothers. Same thing for the brothers. What did you do or what did you say? Well, I can see her point then, or that sister that'll say I can see his point. You know, somebody that'll give you the balance. You can't just have all sycophants and yes people around you. You got to have people who will check you in your stuff for real.
Well, you know, and so you know the and I thank God for that. I thank God that I've always had a village. My mother and my grandmother, when they were here and alive and able, they certainly, you know, didn't play no games about, you know, supporting me. But I mean, they also didn't play no games about calling me out if they felt like I was wrong or I need to get my butt somewhere and sit down. You know, so they didn't have no problem with that. And so I thank God. I thank God for my village. I'm looking at some of the comments now. Most of you, you know, have relationships with us, and you've been our village, and so we want you to take part in this celebration on today. You know, because you helped us to get to these 30 years. You helped us to get to 30 years. Let's talk about our kids just for a minute, babe. I know we're about to sign off, but let's talk about our kids for a minute.
Yeah, we got 8 minutes.
Okay, and if I can, I just want to take a minute because I know Whitney's on here. Whitney's our oldest child. And so I just want to take a minute to say that I know that it has not been always easy. Easy for me or easy for our children because we brought kids together. I had a daughter and Bishop had 2 daughters that we brought together, and it was not an easy transition. It was not an easy transition for the families that was involved. I made a lot of mistakes in those early years. I made a lot of mistakes, and I just want to say publicly, since my daughter is on the line, I don't know if any of our other kids are on the line, but I just want to say publicly.
Well, Erica was on Instagram,
yeah,
so
well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have Instagram, but you know, I just want to say publicly, you know, to my daughters, all of them, that I am so sorry for any hurt, you know, that I may have caused, especially again in those early days, those early years, with everything coming at us, or with all the confusion that was kind of out there, and we know as a family that, things were not easy. It was a lot of hurt within the family. But God has performed great miracles within our families. And so I'm just so proud of the young ladies that you turned out to be. I think you're also wonderful mothers. Whitney, you are set out to be a terrific wife. I have absolutely no doubt about that. I'm really praying for your marriage and your home and your relationship. And one day we'll get to celebrate 30 years with you all as well. But I'm just grateful to God, especially after everything that we've been through lately and losing my mother and understanding the gift of family, understanding the gift of love, and then going through COVID where, I could have died. I just thank God. I just thank God that I got another chance to continue to bring my family together, to love on my children, including my stepchildren and my grandbabies. Embrace all of my grandbabies, love on my grandbabies, and leave a legacy here that's worth, that that God can be pleased about. So I just wanted to say that I love you guys.
Yeah, we got some beautiful children, some beautiful grandbabies, and you know, um, we always said when we were much younger that we wanted to grow old together and have grandchildren, and all that day is
And
here.
now we
It's
now
like
we have
it's,
plenty of
it's
grandkids.
like that day is here, man. I look at our oldest grandbaby Tyler, who will be she'll be a teenager this year.
The same, Micah will be
She's 10
14.
months younger
She's
than
just,
our youngest
yeah,
son.
right. We
And
got the nerve to have a 13-year-old. Okay, yeah, let's get that out.
mhm. And she'll be 13 years old. And just being able to watch our grandbabies and watch our kids be parents. And
Whitney
you
said the
know,
babies are saying hi, Mimi and
hey
Papa.
babies, and have their
Hey.
careers and all of that. And that's our daughter from Chicago, and she's got three of our grandbabies, Kaya, the triple K's,
Yeah.
Kaya, Katura, and Carmen.
Uh-huh.
Hey to the grandbabies, and to our son in love, Calvin, who's also on. And just it's a blessing being able to watch the next generation. And one thing we did find out was, as much as we criticize you criticize your parents, because when we came up, my mother was on us. It was like, she didn't take no foolishness at all. But them grandbabies came around. I mean, they can do the same stuff that we used to do as kids and stuff, and it was a completely different person. It's like, then it was all of a sudden it was like, and then if we discipline our kids for the same things she disciplined us for, it's like, you better leave my grandbaby alone. I'm like, wait, who
Leave
are
the
you?
grandbabies alone. Leave
Like,
the
who are you? And
grandbabies
what did
alone.
you do with my mother? And
It was a cute little meme on Facebook the other day. I tagged T-Man in on it. So it was a Zoom call between, a FaceTime call between a grandbaby and the Mimi. And so the grandbaby was about 6, 7 months old, but the grandbaby had a sad face. So the grandbaby started crying and had a sad face. So the Mimi went and picked up, she was like, what the? She went and picked up her purse, pulled out her gun. She was like, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. So, and I said, T-Man, this is so me, because when when T-Man called me with the grandbabies and they start crying or acting sad or something, I start fussing at T-Man now. It's like, no, I don't
it's like
want, I don't want to see
you
grandbabies
turn,
crying.
you literally turn
No.
into your parents. You literally turn into your parents and you start doing the same stuff. And all of the stuff that you say you would never do is, like my wife would be like, I ain't gonna be babysitting no grandkids, and this ain't gonna happen. Ain't nobody gonna be
sure
having no
did.
grandkids up in my house.
I
And da, da,
sure
da, da.
did.
And then our daughter's like, can you watch my daughter
Well,
for
we don't
wait,
count
wait.
grandkids for whole years.
Can you watch our daughter for a year? You know, not for the weekend so we can go somewhere or go out to eat or something. Can you keep it for a year? And that same
Yeah,
woman
can you
who was
put
like,
in
I ain't
kindergarten?
gonna be doing all that stuff. And she'd be like, yeah, come on, bring my baby home. Bring my baby home.
No,
So,
now.
grandparenthood is wonderful. And, it's a second win, but it's a kinder, gentler type of parenting. And yes, the grandbabies do get away with stuff that the kids could never get away with. That's for sure. That's for real.
And they be mad. They be mad when we be all different with the grandbabies. They be mad. Their parents be mad.
Yeah, all that stuff about grandparents treating the grandbabies different, I can testify that yes, that's the way and it's gonna be that way with y'all too. Y'all just keep on living.
Yeah.
Keep on living. All right, y'all. That Cash App again.
Anyway, you a mess.
That Cash
You a
App,
mess.
Talbert Swan, hashtag or $ Talbert Swan. You can hit me up. You'll be donating to the cause, the 30-year cause. Like I feel like taking an offer like we do in church. Can I get 30 of y'all to give $30? No. But we appreciate y'all. And listen, don't forget on Wednesday, any of y'all in the Church of God in Christ on here now, we're going through a period of transition of leadership. Our presiding bishop won't be running for re-election. He will not be seeking another term on the general board or as presiding bishop. So we're going to see at least 6 new general board members. If all the incumbents win, we'll see at least still 6 new general board members, and we will have a new presiding bishop. And so
very important election.
I'll be having a conversation with 4 of the men who are seeking to be presiding bishop on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So I'll be talking to First Assistant Presiding Bishop, Bishop Jerry Macklin, Second Assistant Presiding Bishop, Bishop Cedric Daniels, Bishop J. Drew Sheard, and Bishop Brandon Porter. They will be on a special Kojic edition of the Bishop's Barbecue at 8 p.m. on Wednesday, right here on the Bishop Talbert Swan page, also on on YouTube as well. So you want to tune in and be a part of that conversation and hear the vision of these leaders who want to lead the Church of God in Christ into the future. All right. So we got to go. Parting words, babe.
I just thank God for my village. I thank God for each of you. And today is a day to celebrate Black love. So go and celebrate.
All right, y'all. We out at 5,000. We making like a tree and leaving. All that stuff. Until the next time I talk to you and you talk to me, always remember, God loves you, and so do we. Peace.
Bless you.